Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Today, knife making tongs. So I got this 5160, which is a very popular knife making steel, and this is cut 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch. And I'd like to be able to get a really good grip on it while I'm working it. I got my multi-purpose bolt tongs here, and there's a little too much weebling. So I'm going to forge these tongs out of this 5/8 round stock. All my previous tongs have actually been made out of railroad spikes, including this pair. So I've grown quite accustomed to this size of tongs, so I'm going to kind of try to stay close to the length of a railroad spike. These are usually 6.5 inches, so I'm going to give myself 8 just to be on the safe side. So that'll be 16 total, 8 inches each. So I'll get the forge heating up and we can cut this to size. I'm going to want to have a portion of each of these that's about 3 1/4 inches that's flattened. Then at the end I'm going to leave 1 inch of round stock untouched, and later I'll forge that into the bits of each piece. There goes nothing. Okie dokie. Welcome to the inside of a crazy guy's brain. So we're at kind of like step 2 now. I got this flattened portion and this bulb area at the end. Next step is to define the boss and also start narrowing the arm of the bolt tong area. Of course, I got more material on the bulb area, so I'll have you know, more stuff to work with for the bit of the tongue. So at this point, I think I'm going to start drawing out the reins and defining the rear of the boss and just trying to keep them all nice and symmetrical. So I'm going to start by flattening a little more, and then I'll decide where the boss should end on both. Alright, so now I'm going to start rounding over the back 3/4 of the reins to make it more comfortable. You know, it's not nice having right angles jabbing into your hands as you're forging. So we're just going to round it up and give it a nice wire brush to make it nice and smooth. Alright, so they're looking pretty close to even. So now I'm going to straighten up the reins, clean up the bosses, and then begin curving the arms over, and then work on the bits. So we're gonna flatten the bulb at the end now into a pancake shape, and my plan is to fold that over into a taco shape, and that taco will be formed around the filling of that 5160 bar. That's the plan. Let's give it a go. Get these as close as possible now because they're going to be really hard to adjust once the arms are curved. It's looking pretty good. We got two pretty close pancakes. Now we can begin the taco phase. And when you get to this point, you just want to make sure that your fixings are even. And this is probably the best I've ever done in one of these projects. I expect my Forged in Fire application in the mail. Right, so I misplaced our tacos, so we're gonna need to go back to the original plan. So I'm realizing I kind of let something slip in planning these guys out. Usually with knife making tongs, the bits are either different or the bits are offset from the center. So for example, if the bits, when it's all put together, are over here, the blade can run alongside the tongs and not run into the tongs. Usually to account for the offset, one of these arms would be longer than the other because it's going to need to reach over the other pair. I think I'll be able to account for the offset though by just making the curvature in one of these arms a little more extreme than the other, which will kind of make its length shorter. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. But before we get to that, we still need to make our tacos. So my plan here is to fold it over by hitting it with the cross peen and the vise here, and then bringing it over to the anvil to finish rolling it. Then I'll leave the bits alone until I've riveted them together, and I can use the bar stock to kind of just form them perfectly around the type stock I want them to hold. Got the holes punched. I'm just gonna work on straightening them out, then I can get the rivet ready. Just gonna drop that there, burn the hammer a little bit. Something I didn't really realize when I started punching holes is, and it makes sense in retrospect, you want the hole to, well, you want the steel to be kind of cooler on the more cherry red to grayish area as you're punching the plug out. It's going to be much easier for it to shear when it's cold. That's exactly the reason you don't forge the steel when it's cold, because it would break. But you want the shear to, you want the plug to shear, so cooler temperature is good for punching out the shear.
mistakes have been made.
Alright, so these guys are done. Overall, I am very happy with how locked in it is, holding the bar stock I intended them to hold. Frankly, I am a little disappointed with the fit and finish. A lot of the issues I had while finishing these guys up stemmed from using too short a rivet. You can see on one side I got, a nice looking traditional rivet, and on the other side it's pretty much flush with the boss. So although it doesn't go over the boss, it's definitely peened over enough that it's wider than the width of the hole, and it's definitely not going anywhere. So I would like to revisit this project, or just a tong project in general, and really get my tong game on point. But the result today is a functioning pair of knife making tongs. They work a million times better than just my general purpose bolt tongs. From the onset, I think it would have been easier to use a thicker stock. So for my next pair, I think I'll use like 3/4 square-ish, just to give myself enough room to make mistakes along the way and still recover and have a nice looking pair of tongs. And also welded reins would have sped this up a lot and let me spend more energy on everything this side of the pair and not all of this, drawing all this out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to be using these tongs in a couple of future projects I'm pretty excited about. Remember to drop a like or a comment, and yeah, that's about all I got for this one, so I'll see you guys in the next episode.